to watch his mileage, isn't he?
Well, he's a main threat on these opening faceoffs. He's also critical going from defense to offense. He's got 5 goals. First hot day is always a challenge for the lacrosse athlete. Today it's 84 degrees and sunny down here in Dorrance.
Anthony Gobriel got hurt last week for Virginia at the faceoff dot. So they went from really working 3 different players in there now to just 2 with Greenspan, who's the Notre Dame transfer, and Henry Metz. Virginia gets possession here. It's been a rough year so far by Virginia standards. 5-5 overall on the year. 0-1 in league play last year. ACC Freshman of the Year. It was the 6th Tar Heel to earn that award last year. And then he has followed it up with a really nice sophomore campaign leading this team. It is a North Carolina team. You think about it, Q. They've won 1 ACC last year. ACC Freshman of the Year. It was the 6th Tar Heel to earn that award last year. And then he has followed it up with a really nice sophomore campaign leading this team. It is a North Carolina team. You think about it, Q. They've won 1 ACC game in each of the last 3 years. They've been basically a 500 team since Chris Gray led them to at open against an experienced defense like this.
Well, Virginia this season has struggled in their slide packages, okay? Whether, like last week, they gave up a big goal with a bad slide to a Syracuse Dodger, and then they didn't have a second slide behind it.
Petro on the run. Oh, he's putting on a show!
This is an entirely different type of shot. So Dom has showcased the ability to let it rip left-handed with his feet set. This is one where he just turns on the gas, sprints right across the face of the goal. And this is tough for a goaltender to find the ball in the pocket, off the lip, in the air. It just happens so fast. And what he does is he hides the ball right here. Look at him drop it behind his body and brings it through that shooting space so fast with a level change. That is unstoppable.
2 goals in 7 seconds for Dominic Petramala. And now Virginia is down 4. Andrew Greenspan can't take this draw because he had a violation on the last one. So it's Henry Metz who wins it to himself, and he shoots and scores. How about that for a juice goal? You need some juice? Put in your backup Fogo and have him go down and score for you.
Little change of pace. Metz known as a counter guy, but they you know, Virginia, we were watching warm-ups, and quite honestly, they didn't look like they had much enthusiasm. We caught guys walking. Just didn't see a spark, didn't see some bounce, and maybe this is a play that can change the trajectory of this game. He blocks that ball from being scooted out. Wambach is kind of lunging upfield. He's able to scoop it up cleanly, and they don't show him enough respect.
There you see him getting the congratulations. His first goal for the Cavaliers, and that might get them back into it. Greenspan is back to take the draw against Wambach. Look at the Wambach just muscling back. Can't pick up the loose ball, though. Picked up by maybe the fastest man on the field, Parker Hoffman. Can he get to show his speed? He cannot, because it's taken away from him in the middle of the field. Weyer here, he's not afraid to shoot. Gets it back. Now he lets it go. Falling backwards, he was still able to put a lot of heat on in 7 seconds. Virginia counters with 2:44, and they're right back in this game. Metz again, wins it to himself. Gets it to Millen. Well, he wanted to just let that one fly. Didn't quite have the defender in the angle he wanted to. Now he loses
a bit this season. You need to move on bounce shots.
Lars is going back and forth with his face-off man. He's got a little something going here. Back to Greenspan, but this time it's won by Wambach in North Carolina as it's picked up by Koopman. Koopman looking for some help, finds it in Petramala. Good to see Dave Petramala on the sideline. You and I went to pay him a visit before the game.
Done a nice job with this young defense guy.
On the sub, English.
But in the 3 tough games, Maryland, Ohio State, and Syracuse, they took it on the chin. So their resume is still very much underdeveloped.
Right, and they play fewer games. Coach Corrigan always wants to play fewer games. He doesn't want to take those long trips to the East Coast, you know, the home and homes, if you will. So they play 1 or 2 fewer games than everybody else, so they don't have those opportunities. they may be one of those teams that needs opportunities. You might have 2 or 3 teams in the ACC tournament, teams that need those extra opportunities against good teams right here. Good back check just at the last minute by North.
Look out. That's a great sign.
Got great lacrosse IQ. You know, coach's son. You think about playing with freshmen like Caden Harshbarger, Mason Suchek on the midfield line. He's invaluable in terms of what he brings from a leadership standpoint. Bodies flying all over the field. Carolina picks it up. That's Hoffman. He's got all kinds of speed. Oof. There's all kinds of Barton on the flame on that shot. I mean, 3-goal advantage now for the Heels. Metz this time. Possession to Ware. Millen, he wants to take over. Shoots and scores! Really short stick that on that shot. That was much more about placement than it was about putting heat on that shot.
Our stars, Duffy's got 2, Petramala's got 2, McCabe Millen has 2. All our sophomores. See the impact of Ware, split down the alley, switch back to his right hand. I mean, the footwork involved in this move is next level. Look, chop, 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 split to your left, bring it back. Get the ball out of your pocket before the trail check can get you. And yeah, I know he's choked up on the stick, but from that distance, it doesn't really matter,
right.
Connor. It's not about velocity. It's about quick release, avoiding the trail check, and it's about putting the ball to the goalie's offside.
How about the confidence when you're choked up on that stick? I'm going to put it in the perfect spot anyway, which he did. Violation on the face-off. Hannigan will get credit. Good back. High school, across hotbed in beautiful Southern California. This weather.
We were there last summer.
Yeah, we were.
Went to an outlaw practice at Torrey Pines.
PLL, San Diego trip to play their home games down there at University of San Diego. What a gorgeous campus that is.
Heading back there this summer, hopefully. Please.
Yes. That's a trip everyone wants to take.
It's really impressive what this young man can do.
We mentioned the goals in his last 3 games. He had 8 goals in his last 3 coming in. So he had been in a terrible shooting slump. He shot 30% last year. This year, only 19%. Hoffman makes that extra pass, but Petramala couldn't handle it. He handcuffed him. But McCabe had just been shooting the ball terribly. Now, these last 3 games, he's kind of getting on target a little bit. And Coach, Lars all week long is saying, it's all about you being the quarterback.
Broken sticks twice now for Carolina's defense.
On consecutive possessions.
Who's your equipment guy?
Virginia, no goals in the first 10 minutes of this game. Will they get another one here? They do! 7 cents off the face-off. Greenspan, now that's first it was Metz and now Greenspan, so their Fogos have scored 2 goals and given them all kinds of juice. This one ties the game.
So funny, Lars Tiffany talking about how he liked their face-off work last week against Syracuse when they were head-and-head with Johnny Mullen. And Syracuse had 2 goals off the face-off. Well, today, Virginia's probably not winning most of the draws, but they've scored 2 goals off the face-off. Metz and now Greenspan. And Carolina's defense just continues to let these Fogos run right down. What's the name of the street?
Carmichael Street is that one that goes right by Carmichael Auditorium there.
They got to change up the way they're playing the face-off ground ball winner. Got to show them more respect.
Good GB picked up by Carolina. Barton with it. Loses it initially. Now he gets it back.
Suddenly we got 14 goals scored with half the whole second quarter still to go. This thing's heading towards the teens and maybe
16 national title. They needed to win the ACC tournament the next year just to get in. Remember, that was when they had the automatic bid back in 2017. They did and got in. Since then, they've only been one time, that 21 year when they had Chris Gray. It's like playing to see who's going to avoid that 5th place in the conference, and we've talked about it at Bears Repeat.
And against a right-handed goalie. That's an offside hip save, which is the hardest of all the saves. It's not like that went stick side high or stick side low. Again, degree of difficulty is a 10 out of 10. And quite honestly, you have no chance really of making that save. How are you going to get your stick head across your body as he's running in the opposite direction? That's one you just tip your cap to him. It's a great shot, and you tell your defender.
And that's no run-of-the-mill short stick D midi either. Noah Chismar's got a lot of championship experience. This Virginia team, the senior out of St. Paul's, but man, faceoffs have been relatively even. Virginia will take that. You told Lars at the beginning of the game you're going to be down just 10-9 in faceoffs. He just signed up for that every day.
On our right, you see the shadows heading right in the face of Gianfrancaro.
Schutz picks up a goal on the day to go with an assist he had in the first half. So 1-1. Now we're going to get a call here against Virginia. Brett Koopman getting congratulations from his teammates, earning that penalty. But you talked about his worth, no pun intended, for this team other than just scoring goals.
One of three Ivy transfers. O'Berry, Gianfrancaro between the pipes, and Wertheimer.
Hoffman, look at the speed. And he gets roughed up. There's a look at Mason Suchek out of Naperville, Illinois, went to Culver. Wambach tried to goose it to a teammate. Hoffman gives chase. Look at that GB by Hoffman. Now he gets on his horse. Good look. Oof. Shot by Barton was just whistled. Yeah, they can definitely play defense. If they're getting some goal scoring, they're a team to watch. Tom Petramala back, so good to see 77 in white back on the field.
The other thing in that scoreboard, Brown was tight with Cornell early. Brown started their backups today. They had an inter-squad scrimmage this week, and John Torpy, their new head coach, said, okay, whoever wins the scrimmage gets to start.
Right.
So he started his back.
It was offside. He couldn't put the brakes on fast enough.
It was gimpy, and maybe that led to that, what I said was not great defense in that situation.
So let's keep an eye on 77 in white. See how long he's over there on the sideline as he recovers. He did go into the tunnel, so let's hope that's not as serious as it might be. This is a big scramble for a ground ball. Look at Wambach getting drilled. Stays with Carolina. Great look. Maggie scores! Hoffman with the big ground ball. Presence of mind to find Madden on the wing. He beats Nunes. The lead right back up to 4.
I tell you, Hoffman has created a role for himself, hasn't he? He's got wheels, and they use him on the wings of faceoffs. Probably the smallest guy out there, number 4 in white. But the ball keeps finding him today. Now he makes a great decision. He puts that ball right in the money, so all Madden has to do is fold it over. Catch in rhythm, snipes high. Nunes gets a big chunk of that.
Hoffman already knew it was going in before it even passed.
Those are so frustrating. Nunes gets a piece of that from point blank range, and it somehow has enough mustard to score. There's Hoffman.
Jersey's all dirty.
He's found a role, doing it well.
That was Hannigan taking that draw for North Carolina.
Holding violation. Loose ball.
You'll find the red light on a camera, no question about it. And we appreciate him for it. Face-off violation. Carolina's really taken over in that category. They've won 6. Interesting, earlier in the year, Coach Bresci described him as a downhill, think of him as a tight end going through traffic where he's got defenders all over him and he's still able to get his hands free and make the catch. And that's a perfect example of that right there. 6'2", 185 freshman, and muscles his way to a goal. Good ball movement here. Too high though, off the stick there.
4-goal run. Remember, this game is tied up at 7 apiece.
Right. This may be the run that ultimately buries North Carolina's Although their face-off men are still battling. Metz, it's a big get for Metz. They can just run this man down all the way down here, just about. Ryan Levy, what a day for the Levy family. Head coach Jenny Levy, the women's team, the only undefeated team left after they beat #1 Boston College. We saw in Piscataway, so we'll keep an eye on that. But
I think the fascinating thing about this season is that there's about 8 teams who can win the national championship.
yeah, I think more so than in previous years, don't you think?
Yeah.
There's no top heavy where it's 1 or 2.